Okay. So what we're going to start off with first is so that we have it on camera. Can I have you say and spell your first and last name?
Ernest Andrus, Ernest Andrus.
All right. So Mr. Andrews, what is your former military title or former?
I was pharmacist mate 3rd class. They don't have that rate anymore. They're just called them hospital. I think call them hospitalmen 1st class now, or third class.
Okay.
So I was a 3rd class petty officer in hospital corps.
Wonderful.
In the Navy.
Okay, great. So tell us why are you doing this walk?
I'm mainly for the fun of it, the adventure. It's something I can still do and like to do. Most of the pleasures are sort of gone in old age, but I can still run, and I still like to run. So,
So where did you start?
this run I started at St. Simon Island, there in Georgia. Put my foot in the Atlantic. Same place I put my foot at the finish when I ran from the Pacific to the Atlantic.
So where are you headed this time?
This time is to San Diego, Mission Beach, and that's where I started my other run.
Okay. And when are you hoping to get to San Diego?
Yeah, it looks like I'll be over 100 years old by the time I get there.
And I heard you're 96 now?
I'm 96, yeah.
All right. So this next walk is you think really going to take you the next 4 years, or?
Well, if I can last that long, I just be fun to just do it again, you know.
So how does it work? So you're traveling here with a friend. So you guys just go city to city?
No, we go campground to campground. Sometimes we go to a Walmart or somewhere where we can camp for a few days, because I have this motor home.
Okay.
And then we just operate out of there because I have a tow car. I tow behind the motorhome. We use that to commute back and forth.
And you only run 3 days a week, correct? So tell us about your routine.
I run every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday.
And how long do you run?
I'm trying to keep it under 5 miles. On my last run, I kept it under 10, but I can't do those long ones anymore. Most of these have been around 4. I'm trying to increase them a little now. The one tomorrow will be 4.69. Because I'm trying to get it to certain places, certain times.
All right, all right. So when did you do your first run?
I started when I was 90 years old, and I finished one day after my 93rd birthday.
Okay, so that took you about a little over 3 years.
No, it took me 2 years and 10 months.
2 years and 10 months.
But I took 7 weeks off in between with Christmas and when my wife passed away.
Okay.
And I had to fly up and to go up to Arizona to pick up an award that I was being given. And I didn't want to mail it to me because it's a very prestigious award, and I wanted to be there in person.
Okay. What award was that?
It's called the Al Clark. Excuse me. It's called the Al Clark Award. And old Al Clark, we would do a lot of runs together. He was 10 years older than me. He could always beat me. But he'd get first place for his age group, and I'd get first place for my age group. Great. And when he died, they started, he was Prescott, Arizona's favorite athlete, and not only that, but he did a lot for the community. And they started giving an award every year called the Al Clark Award after he died.
Okay. So then your first the first run that you did, you said you started in San Diego?
Yeah.
So last time you went from that coast to this coast, now this time you're going backwards.
Right. It's the same route, just in reverse.
Okay, okay.
It's memory lane. I'm seeing all my old friends that I made going across. Made thousands of friends, and I'm seeing them as I go back.
All right. So tell me again, how did you get into this? Where did this idea come from for you?
Well, I was doing a lot of runs up in Prescott, and I had 2 homes. I had one in Prescott, Arizona, and one in La Crescenta, California, and I was back and forth on like a perpetual vacation between the 2, and whichever one was at, whatever came along, 5Ks, 10Ks, whatever, I would run them, just for the fun of it. But then a friend of mine in Prescott was telling me about a fellow that was from Great Britain, and he was running across every country. And when he ran across the United States, he stayed overnight at this guy's house. And I said, gee, that sounds like something fun to do. And so when I did my first 200-mile relay, I was 88 years old, and I got so much attention. You know, nobody that age had ever ran in it before. And I thought, gee, if I get that much attention, an old man running, you know, a relay, how about a 90-year-old running coast to coast? I thought maybe I could raise enough money to take our ship back to Normandy for D-Day, you know, for a memorial service. I guess that'll never happen, but I'm trying. I have fun trying.
Okay, so that's kind of what the purpose is behind the run, trying to raise money for.
Well, that was the cause. I was going to do it anyhow, but I thought, gee, I have a good cause here, and I'd talked to a few other of my shipmates of how we would like to do that, and never thought we could ever afford to do, you know, because it's running into the millions. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, if I can possibly raise enough money, we'll just see what happens. It gives me a cause, you know.
Yeah. So that was the purpose behind that first run that you did.
Well, I was going to do it anyhow.
Okay. You were going to do the race. I was
going to do it just for the fun of it.
Right.
For the adventure. But I thought I had a cause there, and then hoping I could raise some money for the cause and maybe possibly actually get that ship back. It's just a dream. Mm-hmm. That will probably never take place, but.
So how much money have you raised so far for that?
Well, I sent $30,000 into the ship on the first run, which was only enough to help get it in a dry dock for a while and repair a few things. This time I sent in 5,000.
Okay. And so when did you first start this run again?
March the 16th.
March the 16th. So you're only a few months in.
Yeah.
So okay. So that's pretty good for just a few months in so far.
Yeah, but I'll never, you know, I've got 5 years to raise it, but I never raise enough. But mm-hmm. I thought if a 100-year-old man actually competes this run, maybe somebody else will take interest. Somebody's got money, or maybe the Navy would even help out a little.
So tell us more about the ship and what you hope to happen with it.
Well, they built 1,051 LSTs during World War II. Both Eisenhower and Churchill both made similar remarks. It's the ship that won the war. So we're very proud of these ships. I served on the one we have now. I served on one identical to it in the Pacific. This one we have now, it was at Normandy, and in North Africa, Sicily, and Normandy. And it's the only one left out of 1,051 that's operational mm-hmm. and restored. I know they have another that's operational, but it's not restored. They use it as a ferry boat between Long Island and Connecticut. Yeah. But you wouldn't know it was an LST. It's all been refurbished.
Okay.
But they have a plaque up there explaining to everybody that it originally was an LST.
Mm-hmm.
And where is it now?
It's in Connecticut.
It's in dry dock in Connecticut?
No, that one is in Connecticut. The one that they use for the ferry boat. It's in Connecticut, and I forget the name of the town. I've been there.
Where's the one that you...
The one we have now right now it's Evansville, Indiana. They just took it down into Alabama and Tennessee, and now they're back up in Evansville, Indiana. Evansville built the dock for us and pay our utility bills while we're there. We take it out around the different ports. So I was on it last year, but this year I was back running.
Mm-hmm. So you want the hope and the dream is to take this ship back to Normandy?
Yeah.
That's the dream? Okay.
We'd have to...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We'd have to do a little bit of... If we took it on its own power, which I know we could do, I know it could do it because we brought it over here from Greece on its own power. It said it was impossible, it couldn't be done. It was a lot worse shape than it is now because it's all restored now and in good shape. However, they did redo the plumbing, and they went to the modern plumbing, and that would never hold up on the Atlantic.
Oh.
If they're going to take it back across the Atlantic on its own power, they would have to redo the plumbing all over again. But they could put it on top of a big ship, take it over, Because we're a little longer than a football field, but we got ships much bigger than that, could haul it over and back.
So what would it mean? Why does it mean something to you to bring it back to?
Well, it just seems like it would be really something to do. That if there's any World War II veterans still around when we did it, it would mean something to them. It means something to them over there in Europe. I've got about 4 different nations over there and having parties, you know. I don't know what they call them. Some kind of a party. John was telling me where they play his videos about me, and
Oh, that's great.
I guess they'd all hoping I could bring it back.
And when it's brought back, what will it do there?
What
Be
we
a
would do
museum?
is probably would take it over on another ship, on top of another ship, most likely. Love to take it over on its own power, but I don't think we'd ever be able to do that. Coast Guard says no.
And so then once it's back in Normandy,
Well, we take it and put it back in the water, and then run it up on the beach, just like we did at the same place that was there. Yeah, on June the 6th,
D-Day, right?
1944,
Right.
D-Day, and just put it the same place, give them tours, put it back on a ship, bring it back. Maybe hit a couple other ports there. I know they'd love tourists to bring it over and over into Great Britain, because it did a lot of trips back, about 40 trips, I think, between Great Britain and Normandy, back and forth, you know, taking equipment and new troops in.
So I know this past June was a big anniversary for D-Day. What 75 years?
Yeah.
So what does that anniversary mean for you now?
Well, I don't think about Normandy as much as I do Saipan, because when they were going into Normandy, I was going into Saipan.
So that's where you were on D-Day, or?
Well, they hit there on June the 6th, and we invaded Saipan on the 16th. So we were on our way there when they were hitting Normandy.
Okay. But you had been to Normandy
I've
on
been
this
over there
ship
since
before.
then.
Okay. Interesting. Let's see, what else do we need? Alice, is there anything?
How many miles will it end up being when you go from, you started in
St. Simon's.
St. Simon's Island? and
It was, I think, I forget how far, 2,600 and something miles, I think. It's less than 3,000 miles
to Los Angeles.
from one ocean to the other. I took the shortest route.
Okay.
Well, as the crow flies, it was the shortest, but there's not many highways you can go through on, and you can't run on interstates. So I probably was not the shortest.
What's kind of the reaction you get from people when you tell them what you're doing, and they see how old you are too?
Well, I knew that when I ran that 200-mile relay and I found out all the attention I got, I knew that my age was going to draw attention. I never even thought about being a veteran, what attention was going to be. You know, it never occurred to me there's just, you know, that was important, because it wasn't that important until all the guys started dying, and now people are taking more notice to who that's left.
Because we did some interviews, you know, back at the 75th anniversary, and you know there really only are like a handful of veterans left, you know, in cities across America, you know, to tell these stories about World War II. What kind of do you hope that people remember about that war?
The main thing I think people should really know something about it, what went on and why it was necessary, and what the results would have been if we hadn't went and fought it. Because you're going to be more people like Hitler, and you know, and these people there's going to be more of them. The wars aren't going to stop, and there's always going to be somebody that wants to take over the world, and we got to be prepared for it.
And tell us more about your role specifically in World War II.
About what?
About your role specifically in World War II.
I was hospital corps, and I did the first part of the war on the USS Rochambeau, which is a troop transport, and we took troops over and brought wounded back. And I did about 3 trips over and back with that. And then I got on a merchant marine ship and I went back down to New Caledonia. I'd already been there about three or four times. Now I was back there again, but this time I was at a mobile hospital there for a short time till I got in onto this LST. When the LSTs arrived, and I got up over the LST and served the last part of the war, island hopping, taking the islands back away from the Japanese. And my battle station was sick bay, so my job is keep those Marines alive. If they get them to me, see, most of the corpsmen are on the beach, right with the Marines. But they would put a tourniquet on, give a shot of morphine, get them to us, because we're right on the beach with these LSDs. And they could bring them right on to us, and then I just keep them alive till they get them onto a hospital ship or to a hospital somewhere.
All right.
I was very fortunate. I never lost a patient.
Wow. Wow. How did you manage
Well,
that?
just take care of them. I think anybody could have done the job I was doing, and they saved it. I did save one man's life and faced a court martial to do it, but he couldn't court martial me because the guy lived.
So you were like a doctor or a nurse? Or
No, it's
a
like
medic?
in the Army they call them medics. We're in the Navy, Marines, we call them corpsmen.
Okay.
Civilians, they're paramedics.
Okay, good.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
that's what.
Okay.
Real quick, I went to Saipan. My dad was in the Air Force, and we were stationed in Guam twice during his 21 years Air Force. School group, I would think I was in 7th grade, we took a trip to Saipan. It was $50 round trip, airplane from Guam to Saipan. Saipan is an interesting little island.
We were the first LST to hit the beach there. It's Chiricanoa. It's just a little town there. You know, time I got into the beach, I just waded in because we had a beach on a reef. I just took a Tommy gun and held it above my head. I didn't put the clip in it because I told the guy who went with me, I says, leave the clip in your pocket because I don't kill people. I'm here to save them, you know. But it was just, we took it. It's a good deterrent.
One more thing. So what has your journey been like with, from point A to point B here in the United States on this trip, on this mission?
What is it?
What's been your experience so far with this race, with this run?
I don't quite understand the question.
Like, have you met anybody interesting this time?
Oh,
You know,
I've met a lot of interesting people. It's a memory lane. I'm meeting all my old friends. I had one runner yesterday that's running with me. She's going to run with me again tomorrow.
Oh, great.
And almost every run where I get anybody turned out, there's always somebody there that's knew me from before. If it's not somebody running with me, it's somebody that's escorting us, you know, a sheriff or somebody.
What does it mean to you to have people come out and run with you?
I just say the more the runners, the more the fun, because it means it's just more fun that way.
And you
Making new
typically-
friends. I made thousands of friends.
Great. And you typically run in the mornings, right?
Always in the morning.
Always in the morning. And about how long? About 2 hours or?
Right now, it's taking them. Our runs have been around 2 hours.
Around 2 hours. So 2 hours every morning. Okay.
And I'm going to increase that a little. It'll probably be 2.5 hours.
Okay. What do you think about when you're out there running?
I'm watching where I step. And I'm concentrating more on that than anything else, because I have had a few falls and I don't want any more of those, because I found in my old age I can't stop myself. When I go down, I don't have the strength to stop my head from hitting, and I always bang my head.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully you won't have any. Yeah, I get you. You got to be watching the crown there too. So you'll typically run on highways, you said?
I always try to stay on pavement.
Pavement, okay.
I don't like concrete because it's too hard. Pavement is easier on the joints.
Do you think that running has kind of kept you going in your old age or older age? Or?
Well, I guess, I think the one thing that's probably kept me going more than anything else is many, many years ago, I read in the Kaiser Hospital paper that about doing exercises first thing in the morning to get your heart pumping. And I started doing those 50-some years ago, and I've done them every morning since. And I think that's the best thing. It just gets the heart pumping in the morning, and you don't feel all tired out from the beginning, you know.
Interesting.
So, and how much walking and how much running?
I never walk. Yes, you could probably see me getting in there. I can't walk too well, but I have to get a running pace going.
Okay.
You know, my running pace is about equal to a slow walk, but it's still my running pace. And once I get that going, I just keep going.
And so you feel more stable when you're in that light jog and that run.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I have to stop for anything, I got to grab a hold of somebody or something because I'll lose my balance.
Okay. Well, Mr. Richards, is there anything else that we didn't specifically ask you about that you think is important to the story? Anything that we missed?
Well, I like to talk to the fifth graders. Those are my favorites. I taught fifth grade Sunday school because that's the age where kids are making decisions. They're going to last the rest of their lives. They got good questions and they're interested. And I've tried to explain to them that they got to be prepared. My generation and all the generations before me have kept this country free. And I tell them, don't let us down.
Yeah. So where are you originally from?
What's that?
Where are you originally from?
I was born in Kansas.
Okay.
On a farm. And I had moved to Los Angeles when I was 14 years old. And that's where I joined the Navy, was in Los Angeles, and I lived most of my life there.
Okay.
When I retired, I had a couple of homes up in Arizona, Prescott, Arizona, and I kept one in California too.
Okay. So that's Los Angeles is where you and your wife lived?
I've outlived 3 wives.
Oh, okay.
I lived in Los Angeles and La Crescenta. La Crescenta is right over by the Rose Bowl there, Pasadena, in the foothills.
Okay.
A beautiful area. And then I lived in Riverside. I ran a big drugstore. I opened the first big drugstore in Riverside, California.
Okay. So that's what you did when you
I
left
managed
the Navy?
drugstores for quite a few years, and then I switched over to grocery because it paid better.
Okay. Okay.
And how long were you in the Marine Corps? And
I never was actually in the Marine Corps. I was always in the Navy.
okay,
See, the Navy and Marines don't have corpsmen of their own. They use the Navy corpsmen.
Oh, okay.
We lost, and the Navy corpsmen we lost more. We still do. There's more corpsmen and medics than there is any other to get killed, any other rate, because the Japanese first figured out if they killed one corpsman, they killed 3.
Oh, right. Yeah, because they're paid. Yeah.
And that's the same with the medics in the Army. They want to pick out that medic and kill him so he can't save somebody else, see?
Oh, right.
And so you were in the Navy for how many years?
Just for the duration of the war plus 6 months.
Okay.
Okay.
So
They told me when I signed up, because I'd already had my 18th birthday, that I would have to sign up for 6 years unless I would prefer to just go in for the duration of the war. So I took the duration of the war in 6 months, not knowing how long the war would last, not knowing if I was going to like the Navy. But I was volunteering, so I could do pretty much what I wanted, you know.
So did you like it, or?
Oh, I love the Navy, and I love the sea, being out at sea. What was hard for me to take was the authority over me.
Yeah, all the rules, yeah.
And I imagine that's why you're having so many suicides probably in the service now. These kids, we started this falling process, you know, and we were going to let the kids go through what we went through and the depression, you know. And I think these kids are spoiled and they can't handle it.
Okay, interesting, huh? Okay, I think that was good, yeah. I think are you good? I think
Yeah.
that
Okay,
was
I'm gonna
great.
get some 2 shots with you guys, don't move. I'm
Okay,
gonna,
so you want me to see what
I wanna move.